Guys, we are live, and there's some breaking news that just happened about 45 minutes ago via On3 and via Evan Stewart himself. Evan Stewart, former five-star wide receiver, but the most coveted, you can even say, overall player in the portal. I mean, the guy probably has low 4.3 speed, one of the fastest receivers, most explosive wide receivers in college football. A guy that next year is projected to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. One of, when you watch Evan Stewart play, it didn't matter, who was throwing him the ball, whether it was Weigman, whether it was Max Johnson. He still had a lot of production in a very pro-style offense that Jimbo Fisher incorporated at Texas A&M. Evan Stewart is every bit worth the five-star rating that he received out of high school, and now he ends up, along with Dan Lanning cutting that amazing video about how Dan Lanning's staying at Oregon, Evan Stewart now goes out there and he is headed to Oregon as well. This Oregon class, this Oregon transfer class that started off with just the quarterbacks, but then you were able to see, Ole Miss was able to take a lot of defensive talent off of the board, like Walter Nolan and several others. Ole Miss had an incredible cycle, and Arizona State, Colorado was jumping out in front of it, but Oregon is picking their spots, man, and I think that they got this guy from Kansas State, Savage, as well, an experienced safety. Oregon is just, they're rolling now. You have Dante Moore, you have Dillon, Gabriel, Tez Johnson, who, if I was an NFL evaluator, Tez Johnson would have been a third-round pick. Tez Johnson reminds me of Tank Dell. He reminds me of somebody that could step into the NFL and make an immediate impact, and he's going to be coming back to school. Traeshon Holden from Alabama really showed great signs of life and put up a really successful season. Terrence Ferguson, probably an NFL tight end as well, who is a really good receiving tight end. Pretty dang complete player, actually, Terrence Ferguson. So this offense is going to be really prolific. You're bringing in Dillon Gabriel, who has had, you could joke 8 years of college experience or 10 years. Guy was at UCF, put up big numbers, and then he was with Jeff Lebby at Oklahoma. He beat Texas on a neutral site, led him to a 10-2 season. He's a quarterback that doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's incredibly accurate, and he does hunt big plays and gets the most out of his ability. Now, Dante Moore has more arm strength than Dillon Gabriel. Dante Moore is faster than Dillon Gabriel. Dante Moore has, maybe more NFL upside than Dillon Gabriel, but Dante Moore at UCLA last year, he doesn't have any bit of the experience that Dillon Gabriel has. It's not an offense to Dante Moore, but something to consider is that Evan Stewart is already projected to be a high first-round pick. You're getting Evan Stewart for 1 year. If everything at Oregon is a competition, and if you're Dante Moore, this wide receiver class at Oregon with Tez Johnson and with Evan Stewart, this is going to I think it is going to be the most talent that Oregon has had at wide receiver. I'd have to go back a very long time, maybe to the Chip Kelly years of Marcus Mariota. You guys can certainly correct me. I know that Joey Harrington played there, but this is probably now you have really good defensive line play. Now in the trenches, you get Mateo, you get Elijah Rushing. I know that these are young players, but you have five-star guys that are on the edge. Your defensive line should be really good. Josh Connerly's a five-star as an offensive lineman, but defensive line, you're looking really good. You do lose Bucky Irving at running back. But quarterback, you got two really good options at quarterback, two highly touted guys. Jordan James has shown a lot that he could be a bell cow running back, and you also got a terrific D2 running back out of Missouri that I think is going to make an impact on this team. Noah Whittington is a big power back. So This wide receiver crew, though, I mean, we could look back on this kind of like LSU. This could potentially be one of the great classes in college football history, and then we can watch them even go be pros. Kyler Casper has pro aspirations. Jerrion Dickey, again, in his class, was one of the best wide receivers out of high school, out of Palo Alto. He's one of the highest, kids that I've ever graded. He looked like A.J. Brown, and he was rated a 96 overall. Now, he had a very devastating injury last year. I think he had a knee injury, lost tons of weight. Last year was quite a battle, mentally and physically, for him in rehab to get back to, in injury rehab, to get back to where he is now. Could Jerrion Dickey also impact play? Gary Bryant, I mean, the guy just makes contested catches. But you have Tez and you have Evan Stewart. You have so much speed. You have Terrence Ferguson as a safety valve. Will Stein, again, dominating in Texas and recruiting. Junior Adams. I'm sure that Evan Stewart saw, what Troy Franklin was able to do and how Troy Franklin's going to be a first-round pick. And I'm sure that Evan Stewart also saw, I know it's on the other side of the football, but these Oregon players are going to start to go to the league, and I think they're going to have a lot of success. Christian Gonzalez came into New England and looked like he's been playing NFL football for 3 or 4 years. That's how good Christian was in his first couple of weeks playing, and I know it's a different position. So for Oregon, again, what a day. Kalen DeBoer, your main rival, might even be going to, Alabama. But, guys, Evan Stewart, let's just, again, read a little bit about some stats for Evan Stewart, all right? And pulling up here some statistics at A&M, had about 600 receiving yards. And as a freshman, he was even better. I think he played in more games. Had 700 and had 530 receiving yards. And yeah, just looking right now at Stewart, barely played down the stretch, but again, that was also with a brand new offense and with a third-string quarterback at that time. So Stewart, I'll get you his height and weight. I believe it's like 5'11", but he's listed at 6 feet. Rangy, super athletic player. One of my favorite receivers in college football. I'd say the best receiver in college football. Oregon also has a good class of freshmen, so they're loading up. And in the Big Ten now, it's interesting because not only are you going to have physical trench play, you also have wide receivers and speed on the outside. So not only do you have the trenches, which is necessary in football, but you also have fancy wide receiver, Lamborghini-style talent at Oregon. So this is really exciting. There's going to be a lot of hype around this offense, a lot of pressure on Will Stein and Dillon Gabriel with all of these talented pieces. And these are talents that are actually talent that we've seen before. Like even in Jimbo Fisher's offense, which didn't get the most out of the talent of Texas A&M, Evan Stewart was still balling out at Texas A&M. So unbelievable job, of course, by Oregon. And they get the top prize, maybe in the whole transfer portal, Evan Stewart.